up, guys? Here with Rickard Croy.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank
Our
you.
Swedish Vallerret shooter. We've had a fantastic weekend shooting some marketing commercials for our new products coming, which led me to think I know nothing really about videography, which is why we got Rickard over here. And I think that's a big issue for many photographers.
Yeah.
Videography is becoming more and more part of your workflow. Clients and customers wanting videos, social media, even just shooting yourself for like a blog or a vlog or your adventure.
Exactly.
So we thought we'd get you involved and tell us how to actually improve our videography. Where do we start from switching over from photos to videos?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, to start, you need to first know what frame rate you're gonna shoot in. Do you want to play the video in slow motion in post later on, or do you want to keep it in real time? For example, if you shoot a interview like this, you would never play it in slow motion. So 24 frames per second would be the preferable frame rate. But if you shoot action and you want to have the ability to slow your footage down to get a nice slow motion movement and you can really see the action, then you would prefer to shoot in, for example, 60 frames per second. Yeah.
We're going to have to stop because I'm definitely shooting at 60 frames per second. And you just reminded me.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Okay, we got that fixed, 24 frames per second.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And many modern DSLRs has the ability to shoot both 1080p and 60 frames per second at the same time, which is a really nice feature.
Okay, cool. So we've set up frame rate. What about shutter speed?
So when you shoot video, you want to shoot at a shutter speed that is double your frame rate. So for example, if we are shooting now in 24 frames per second, you want to shoot at a shutter speed that are... can you help me out here with the math?
You're going to say 50 or 60,
exactly.
right?
And
like,
what are you shooting at?
Yeah, not 50 or 60.
Do you want to go fix that?
Yes.
It's actually brilliant. It's a fun concept, actually.
This is hilarious. I told you I knew nothing about videography.
Yeah. So we're back
we got that sorted. So now
24 frames per second with 50.
I think I'm shooting 60.
Yeah.
Shutter speed 60.
And that is because you want to have that nice motion blur in between the frames. So the video looks more like flowy and not as choppy as it can look if you have a too high shutter speed and every single frame is tack sharp.
Yeah, it makes sense. So if you like take one still, it looks a little blurry, but when you put it together, it's a lot smoother.
Exactly.
Right. So actually, then I had to lower my shutter speed, which then meant my exposure was higher. I had to bring that down.
Exactly.
So I had to raise my aperture. So that's kind of we didn't have to raise it too much, so we could still have a nice depth of field. But let's say I had to raise it a lot in order to get the exposure.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it's taken away my creative shot.
For example, on a bright day when it's super sunny and nice.
Yeah.
That's where ND filters comes in handy. A little filter that is called neutral density filter.
Yeah.
People call it ND filter. And that's kind of like sunglasses for your camera. So you decrease the amount of lights that reach the sensor by putting a filter on.
This makes more sense. I know people don't often use them for photography because you can do other things like bracketing and stuff.
Yeah.
But you can't do that with video, obviously. So this actually becomes an important part of the workflow.
Exactly. And when you shoot video, it's pretty handy to have a variable ND filter. They're a bit more expensive, but it's nice that you can adjust like how much light you let into your
without
sensor.
changing the full filter, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now we've set up the camera. This one's actually filming everything correct.
Yeah.
How do we then go with the correct setup to actually start making videos look good? Like how do you,
Yeah, like one thing you have to have in mind when you shoot video is that compared to photography, like a single photo can be really great by itself. But with video, you have to have like a bunch of great clips that like fits well together and can tell a coherent story. So you really have to think about the concept, like what is the story you want to tell and how will you tell it. So you have to have like a nice stream of clips. For example, if you're shooting a vlog, it's of course nice that you tell about your day and your adventures, But it's also nice to have some kind of B-roll where you shoot like details of what you're doing, like maybe a footstep out of the car, or just some nice clips to break up that like single selfie talking thing with. So you don't want to take only like a one wide angle shot of the action that's happening, but you also want to have tons of different angles to keep the video interesting to look at. Every action you want to show, make sure you have enough like different angles from it. So you tell your actors to do it over and over again till you feel sure that, okay, I have enough different clips to work with this in post to keep it interesting. And personally,
so sorry to interrupt, but if you're going, say, to do a vlog or people shooting their own adventure to put on their channels to tell their photography story, do you imagine that we or they just keep walking backwards and forwards and changing the angle? And
I bet some people do it.
Yeah, just to make it better and more interesting. I guess that's the way you're just going to make better videos. Yeah. Because there's the lazy way and you tell the story, or you get a little more, put a more effort in and you can make a better video. Yeah.
But I mean, it's also about like, for example, if you're hiking, you're out in the mountains hiking, you want to tell that story. You're not only going to film yourself walking, you're also going to film the nature. Like maybe you find a nice little bird that you take a close-up on. Maybe you find like, maybe it's really windy and you want to tell that to your audience. Maybe then you can film the grass like flapping in the wind, and elements like that can
enhance the storytelling.
Yeah, exactly.
What are some good techniques to, say, getting like sharp images and smooth images? Yeah, we can start with sharp. Like, personally, I never use autofocus when I shoot video. I know there are some cameras on the market that are capable of like performing decent autofocus, like the Sony A6300, the Canon C200. But I mainly set my distance to the object that I want to focus on, and then I try to keep that distance. So I focus manually, for example, on Carl here. And then when Carl walks around, I try to keep the same distance all the time. And in that way, keep him in focus. And I think it's quite nice with video that you don't have to have a tack sharp focus all the time. It's nice if it comes and goes a little bit. Not with a jerky autofocus, of course, but with you walking in and out of focus. Yeah, that makes sense, because I try to use my autofocus and then halfway through the video it goes like meh, meh. Yeah. And then you're like, ooh.
That's really distracting for the eye when you watch it. Yeah.
Cool. Smooth footage.
Exactly. In my hand here, I have a glide cam. It's pretty handy, a bit expensive. So I would say the first thing, if you don't have it already, get a tripod to get that steady footage. Because with a tripod, you can also like have the tripod attached to your camera. It gets a bit of weight, and then you can walk around with a tripod on your camera, folded together. That extra weight makes the footage way more stable. Okay. And also, if you have a lens with a optical stabilizer, turn that on, and you will get some smooth footage.
And if you're just going to go handheld, is there any, like, do I mean to hold it like in a certain way that's really stable, or like out or in, or?
I think if you have a mirrorless camera, you can use a viewfinder. Yeah. And from my experience, my footage gets way more stable when I put the camera against my eye and try to keep it steady. And I also work a lot with my breath. Like, I don't really hold my breath, but I tend to kind of hold my breath, but slowly breathe out when I have that short clip that I have to get steady.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just trying to be smooth.
Yeah. Like, make sure you are. You do your best to make it stable. And I would say it's easier to get a shot stable if you have the camera close to your body. Yeah, okay. Like, rest your elbows against your hip or something, and just, if you don't have the possibility to look through your viewfinder while recording, which many DSLR
I can't do
can't do that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, like shooting video in the beginning is always going to be a bit of an experiment.
Yeah.
Like when you don't really know how you can match different clips together and how to tell a story, just get out there and try. And the more you work with editing, the more you will also learn what kind of clips works and what kind of clips you need to take when you're out there.
Yeah, because that brings me to think about transitions. I tend to forget about the transitions if I'm filming something, and then when I go to post, I'm like, oh, how am I going to go from this frame to this frame, because I didn't go behind a tree or fade it out or do something that actually blends it.
I think it's also a little bit different on different styles of films. Like some videos really have this transition thought through in every transition, pretty much, that you go into a dark spot and comes out of a dark spot and into the sky and back from something bright. It's really is effectful a word in English?
Yeah. Effectful, sure.
Effectful is Swedish, but
it's effective. I think.
Effective, especially if you add some sound effects to that. It's like when you get like dragged in and out from things. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
But I think it's more in the beginning. It's more important to think about how will I get from this scene to another. Do I need to show a clip from me being in the car, or the actor being in a car, or do I need to just show that someone's stepping out from a car and you will automatically think that, wow, that person were driving there, or something like that. So I think when you talk about transition, it doesn't have to be like a super creative transition, but it has to be thought through how you can move the story forward.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm stoked that talking this through, we managed to actually get the footage correct.
Yeah.
And what are some like final thoughts that they kind of just make a big difference?
I would say, to start with, try to have a plan for what you want to shoot. What do you want to tell? Maybe you don't even know what's going to happen, but you can have an idea of how you would tell the story.
So like really slow motion, fade out transitions, or very like quick action, short, sharp shots.
Yeah, like what kind of style does your video, what kind of style do you want to shoot with?
Yeah.
I mean, for some videos it makes sense to have handheld and slightly shaky footage. Like I shot a music video for a rock band like 2 years ago, and I shot the whole thing handheld because it just looked too smooth if I shot it on the glide cam.
Yeah.
So I think that's number one. What's your concept? Like, how do you want the video to look? Like, what feel would you want to bring? And second, I would say is audio. Like, get a microphone. I would say if you have a tripod, second investment would be a microphone to get decent audio. Like watching a video with crap audio is unbearable. It's like you can watch a shit video as long as it has good audio. Like you can bear with it, but if you hear the squeaky sounds and like it's just really annoying, like you just turn it off.
I'm gonna have to go back through all my videos and like, try and improve the audio.
Yeah.
Cheers, bro. That helps heaps for myself, and I'm sure others are gonna find the transition from photography to videography easier now.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Check out photographygloves.com. You can see the videos that Rickard's made for us over the weekend on our YouTube, on our website. He's done an epic job there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks heaps.
All right. Thank you, Carl.